This is Northern Light for Friday, August 21st. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. The Plattsburgh YMCA's board plans to launch an independent investigation into abuse allegations at its child care center.
We cannot change the past, but we can become a stronger, more accountable organization.
Also on the show, a woman from the Caribbean is cooking up dinners at the Faust Motel in Tupper Lake every Friday this summer.
Food is love. It comes from the heart. Yeah, that's why everything I cook tastes good. Because it's made with love.
And John Warren checks on trail conditions in the Adirondacks.
All that's coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us. Support for Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio comes from AJA Architecture and Planning in Glens Falls, providing architecture, planning, and interior design services for residential, commercial, and community spaces throughout the North Country. AJAarchitecture.com. And from the Adirondack Community Foundation, where generous donors, fund holders, and change makers come together to address the Adirondack region's biggest challenges, including housing, childcare, and career pathways. ADKcommunityfoundation.org. This is Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. An Albany woman is accused of plotting to plant a bomb at the New York State Capitol. Authorities say 35-year-old Jessica Bowie pledged allegiance to the Islamic State earlier this year. They say she wanted to, quote, destroy as much of the building as possible and kill the senators while they are meeting. First Assistant U.S. Attorney John Sarcone said Bowie was arrested on Wednesday while meeting with undercover federal agents.
The allegations in this complaint are deeply disturbing. That someone would harbor such hatred toward our way of life and seek to target the New York State Capitol and New York State senators, that's an attack on democracy itself, and one we will not tolerate.
Sarcone says Bowie is a U.S. citizen. She's been charged with attempting to provide material support for a designated terrorist organization. A judge ordered her detained pending trial. A lawyer for Bowie declined to comment.
A new poll released this week has Republican Anthony Constantino leading Democrat Blake Gendabine by double digits in the race to represent New York's 21st congressional district. JL Partners surveyed 500 likely voters over the weekend. Constantino had a 10-point lead when voters were asked to choose between him and Gendabine. When undecided voters were pushed on who they'd pick, Constantino's lead expanded to 13 points. This poll follows another conducted by Survey USA earlier this month that showed Gendabine with a 4-point lead over Constantino among likely voters. 5% said they'd vote for independent candidate Christopher Schmidt. Democrats face an uphill battle in the district. There are about 80,000 more Republicans than Democrats. The Cook Political Report rates NY21 as solidly Republican. The midterm elections are less than 3 months away.
Earlier this year, the Plattsburgh YMCA's Bright Beginnings Child Care Center was shut down after child abuse claims. For many, it shattered trust in a long-standing community organization that served thousands of people in the North Country. It also sparked questions about the fate of a huge project to relocate and modernize the Y's main location. The YMCA's board met for its annual meeting yesterday. Kara Chapman reports on how it plans to move the organization forward.
Things were looking good for the Plattsburgh YMCA. The staff and board were energized. The state assembly speaker delivered a $4.5 million check to help renovate a new home. That all changed this past March when the state revoked Bright Beginnings Child Care Center's license. That happened after complaints of physical abuse and inappropriate discipline by staff there were substantiated. State police have said multiple children between ages 1 and 2 were physically abused and that employees knew and failed to report it. At the YMCA board's annual meeting, board member Rochelle Gregory said what happened deeply affected children, families, employees, volunteers, and the broader community. She said that included the board itself.
There were many tears, many sleepless nights, and an unwavering sense of responsibility to the children, families, and community we serve.
The board fired several employees and leadership staff and brought in an interim CEO. Parents of one of the children filed a lawsuit seeking damages. 3 former employees were arrested on criminal charges, including multiple counts of child endangerment and failure to report child abuse. Bright Beginnings was shut down for 2 months and reopened in May to families who'd already been enrolled and needed child care. This summer, the board rebranded it as the Early Childhood Development Center. They brought on a new director with more than 2 decades of experience in the field. But there's still more work to be done. The board next plans to hire an independent investigator to look into what happened at Bright Beginnings. That includes examining the Y's oversight, internal communications, decision-making, and response. Board Chair Molly Ryan said the board has received quotes and hopes the investigation will start as soon as possible.
We must be willing to accept those findings, act on them, and follow best practices moving forward. We cannot change the past, but we can become a stronger, more accountable organization.
There are also plans to renovate the child care center. The Y is repurposing leftover COVID funding for safety improvements and changes aimed at making the building more welcoming. That work is expected to start before the end of the year. Something else expected to move forward in the coming months is the long-awaited renovation of the former CVPH Wellness Center. The Y acquired the facility several years ago, with plans to relocate its primary location there after more than a century in downtown Plattsburgh. The organization has amassed $12 million in community donations and state and federal funding. That's still short of the overall project's almost $20 million price tag. Ryan said, rather than waiting to bring in the rest of the funding, the Y is moving forward in phases. She said this approach could end up costing more down the road, but allows the project to finally move forward without the organization taking on millions in debt.
If you were looking for a house and you want a 4-bedroom house and you could only afford 3, you build a 3-bedroom house. And then you build on responsibly when resources are available.
The $12 million is expected to cover priority pieces of the project. Those include renovation of the facility's existing pool, more cardio space, and more space for children and teens. The Y plans to hold a ceremonial groundbreaking in mid-October, with the actual construction slated to start in December. The building, sans the second floor, is expected to open for members a year from now. Another major next step is picking the Plattsburgh YMCA's next leader. Former CEO Justin Ein was among the employees fired in the wake of the child abuse allegations earlier this year. An interim CEO has been overseeing the organization for months. Ryan said she expects the board will move forward on starting the search for a permanent replacement at its next meeting in September. Even with all the actions the Y is taking, Ryan said nothing will ever be enough to restore community trust after the alleged abuse at Bright Beginnings.
I'm a parent. I can't even imagine what those families have gone through. So nothing I can say or do is going to be enough to take back what has happened. But we do have a purpose in this community, and we have a need in this community, and it's our job to fulfill the needs of our community.
In the meantime, the cases against the 3 former Bright Beginnings employees continue to move forward in Plattsburgh Town Court. The Clinton County District Attorney's Office said Thursday that there were no new updates related to the case. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio, Plattsburgh.
This is NCPR.
You're listening to Northern Light from North Country Public Radio. It's 10 after 8. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around. We'll take a look at how trail conditions in the Adirondacks are shaping up this weekend.
That's coming up in just a few minutes here on Northern Light. First, we'll hear a little more music from Joe Phillips out of Warrensburg. Support for Northern Light comes from Barstow Subaru in Potsdam, committed to the safety and security of all-wheel drive. Details at barstowsubaru.com. And from NCC Systems, providing businesses and homes with fire alarms, surveillance, and access control systems. Full-service facilities in Plattsburgh, Watertown, and Potsdam. nccsystems.com.
It can be pretty tough to find good quality food around the North Country. But for the last 3 summers, a woman has been cooking up meals in Tupper Lake inspired by her Caribbean roots. Last summer, she used the money she earned to help rebuild a restaurant she owns back home that was destroyed by a hurricane. Emily Russell visited her pop-up kitchen and brought us this story, which first aired in last year.
There are a few key secrets to Brenda Bideau's cooking. The first is how she sees food.
Food is love. It comes from the heart. Yeah, that's why everything I cook tastes good. Because it's made with love.
Bideau is wearing a yellow apron with teapots on it. She's prepping dinner in a little cabin at the Fost Motel in Tupper Lake. It's first come, first serve, and takeout only.
Just got this new stove. Quite fancy, eh?
Tonight's menu is curry chicken with lentils and a salad.
So this is the marinated chicken, which I did last night. It makes it even better. And then this is everything I put in. So I'll show you what I do.
Bideau grabs a small bowl, adds a bit of water, and then spoons in some spices. There's curry, ground cloves, ground ginger. And you're kind of eyeballing this.
Oh, yeah.
This brings us to Bideau's second secret to her cooking.
I don't measure. No. I just go with the flow.
In food and in life, Bideau really does go with the flow. She was born and raised on the small Caribbean island of Carriacou, just north of Grenada. Then life brought her to New York City. She raised her kids there and had an office job for more than 30 years.
But it's just too much pressure. And being from a small island, trying to climb corporate ladder is not really our thing.
As she peels and chops onions for the chicken curry, Bideau says she decided to quit her job in the city and move back to Carriacou.
So I didn't have any money, so I'm like, what can I do? What am I good at? Cooking.
This is a video Bideau shared of her restaurant in Carriacou. She and her friend Jeanette opened it about 4 years ago. It's tiny, made mostly of plywood, but it has real character. There are big, colorful flowers painted on the walls. There's cozy outdoor seating with string lights. Then, in the summer of 2024, disaster struck.
Tonight, Hurricane Beryl, the earliest recorded Category 4 to hit the Atlantic, is battering the southeastern Caribbean.
Just wiped out the whole of the Grenadines, wiped out everything. So I lost my restaurant, my house.
But instead of feeling stuck or broken, Bideau just kept going with the flow. After the storm, she got a call from Suzanne Orlando, who owns the Fost Motel in Tupper Lake. The two had met years earlier on a cocoa farm in Grenada. Bideau told Orlando she didn't know what was next for her.
So she said, well, why don't you come and do a pop-up, to save some money, to fix your house and your restaurant. So that's how this whole thing got started.
The curry chicken bubbles away on the stovetop. The kitchen fills with the scent of warm spices. Bideau covers the pot to let it simmer.
And then I'm going to do some red lentils.
Over the last few summers, Bideau has cooked up ginger pork with stir-fried veggies. She's served up beef soup with dumplings, made salmon and coconut lime sauce with rice.
I think people appreciate Brenda's cooking and all the love she puts into it.
Suzanne Orlando says the flavors are not for everyone in Tupper Lake, but those who try Bideau's food and like it, they often come back for more.
We have a real loyal set of people in Tupper Lake who love Brenda's food and love Brenda's company too. So we hear that she's just bringing warmth and yumminess.
Bideau also sells homemade ice cream and fresh squeezed juice.
I'm just going to grab one of your juices.
Okay.
Add that carrot.
Yeah, of course.
Sharon Martin is here for the second time in 2 days. She got dinner from the Caribbean kitchen last night. It was salmon, mashed potatoes, and a salad.
I shared it with my mother, who's 86, and everything bothers her these days. Well, she loved her food. It didn't bother her, and that's why I'm back tonight.
Bideau doesn't make a ton of food, only enough for about 15 dinners a night. For the last few summers, she's been open from July through the end of October. When she's not working, Bideau is out exploring the Adirondacks, which she says has really grown on her.
Gosh, I really love it. I didn't think I would. I didn't peg myself as a in the bush kind of person because I grew up on the beach.
But this past summer was her summer of yes. She even went hiking for the first time and ended up summiting a few of the top local peaks.
I hiked Mount Arab, and then we did Coney and Panther.
But there's one thing about Tupper Lake she's not quite sold on yet: the long, cold winters.
People here would tell me, "Oh, Brenda, there's no such thing as bad weather. You're wearing bad clothes." I'm like, I guess so. I guess so. They're like, what are you talking about?
Bideau closed up the Caribbean kitchen at the end of October. She headed for a warmer climate. She says she'll be back next summer, though. Meanwhile, with the help of some friends back home and extra donations, her restaurant in Carriacou has been rebuilt and is ready for customers. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio, Tupper Lake.
That story first aired last year. Bideau and her business partner were able to rebuild the restaurant over the winter. Bideau is back in Tupper this summer, selling takeout dinners every Friday at the Faust Motel in Tupper Lake. She's also making breakfast every day from 6 to 11 a.m., both for motel guests and the public.
Five members of State Police Troop B have been suspended due to an ongoing investigation. Troop B covers Clinton, Essex, Franklin, St. Lawrence, and northern Hamilton counties. A spokesperson for the state police says their suspension is connected to an incident that occurred last October. They say additional details can't be provided due to the open and active investigation.
One of the North Country's congresswomen is supporting a bill that would boost Medicare payments to emergency medical services. Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, who represents part of Jefferson County, is co-sponsoring the Rescue Act. It would require Medicare to update its ambulance fee schedule every 3 years. According to the Watertown Daily Times, that hasn't happened in more than 2 decades. Bruce Wright of the Guilfoyle Ambulance Service in Watertown told the paper that emergency services are grossly under-reimbursed, even as gas prices, wages, and medical equipment costs have greatly increased. The Rescue Act was introduced in July and referred to the House Energy and Commerce Committee and the Ways and Means Committee. It's unclear when or if it will move forward.
And Governor Kathy Hochul is celebrating the opening of a new $650 million dairy processing facility near Rochester. She says Coca-Cola's new hub for its line of Fairlife dairy products will take in at least 5 million pounds of milk a day.
5 to 6 million pounds of milk every day. That's hard to comprehend. Think about what it takes to get the milk out of a single cow. 5 to 6, was that a typo? 5 to 6 million pounds? It's real. And so we're excited about this.
New York State helped pay for the construction of the facility with more than $80 million in state funding. Other dairy plants have closed over the years, meaning that farmers have had to pay to truck their milk further away. Dairy farmers are also struggling with costs due to President Trump's trade dispute with Canada and the war in Iran. Yesterday's ribbon cutting was held a day after Hochul announced more than $12 million in state funding to support infrastructure projects that benefit dairy farmers. This is NCPR. You're listening to Northern Light from North Country Public Radio, which is supported by Adirondack Harvest, connecting North Country residents and visitors with local farmers, producers, farm-to-table restaurants, and retailers. Details at AdirondackHarvest.com. Support also comes from you. If you're a seasonal resident, you may support a different station at your year-round home. But in the summer, North Country Public Radio is your source for news, music, and a connection to the North Country. Before your stay is over, make a donation in support of your summer station. And consider selecting an NCPR t-shirt, ball cap, or mug to remind you of the North Country all year long. Give now at ncpr.org/give or mail a check to NCPR, St. Lawrence University, Canton, New York, 13617. And thanks so much for your support of the station. It's 8:22. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around after the show for Bird Note. That's coming up at 8:42. With our eyes to the skies, sunset in Alexandria Bay is at 7:59 tonight, and the moon is a waxing gibbous at 65% of full.
At last check, it was 56 degrees in Lowville, 54 in Long Lake right now, 58 degrees in Burlington, and 18 degrees in Kingston. You can expect sunny skies coming your way today once any lingering fog this morning clears out. Clear skies, sunny skies, and low humidity too, thank goodness, with highs expected to be in the low to upper 70s throughout the region. Should be a nice day tomorrow too before some rain showers start moving into the area Saturday night. For a look at how all of this impacts the trail conditions in the Adirondacks this weekend, here's John Warren with the New York Almanac.
In the Adirondack high peaks on Saturday, the sun will rise at 6:07 a.m. and set at 7:49 p.m. The forecast is calling for a nice start to the weekend, but some showers possible beginning later Saturday through Sunday, which is expected to be rainy at times in the mountains with the possibility of an afternoon thunderstorm. High peak summer temperatures are expected to be in the mid-50s through the weekend, with wind chills on Monday reaching to near freezing at the highest elevations. Rivers and streams are generally below normal levels, even for this time of year. The Hudson River is expected to be at about 2.5 feet on the gauge at North Creek through the weekend. The Racket River is forecast to be at about 3.5 feet on the gauge at Piercefield. Lake Champlain has fallen to just below 94.5 feet, and water temperatures there are now in the lower 70s, the same temperature as the water of Mirror Lake. In the Pigeon Lake Wilderness, the Shallow Lake Trail remains impassable due to beaver activity. Beavers have also flooded part of the Northville Placid Trail in the West Canada Lakes Wilderness between West and Mud Lakes, where a reroute has been marked. And a reminder that Fork Lake Road from North Point Road to the Fork Lake Campground will be closed to all traffic starting September 11th for a bridge replacement project. Access to the campground parking and boat launch will be closed starting September 8th. And finally this week, the annual open house has lifted restrictions at the Perch River, Upper and Lower Lake, and Wilson Hill wildlife management areas through the end of August. Birders especially can take advantage of these openings to explore the area, which is typically closed to visitors. Those are the outdoor conditions in the Adirondacks this weekend. For North Country Public Radio, this is John Warren from the New York Almanac. Online at NewYorkAlmanac.com.
Well, it's another weekend looking nice here across the North Country, which means a calendar full of activities. You can always check out what's going on at NCPR's community calendar at ncpr.org/calendar. But tonight, head out to Saratoga Springs with the sounds of Star Wars. The Philadelphia Orchestra will play Star Wars A New Hope at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center at 7:30 tonight. You can find more details and ticket information at spac.org.
Also, don't forget the Adirondack Plein Air Arts Festival is still underway. You can meet with artists and watch them paint at locations throughout Saranac Lake. The festival will wrap up with a show tomorrow at the Harrietstown Town Hall, where painters will be presenting their new work. You can find more information on our community calendar page, ncpr.org/calendar.
And a good activity for families and kids tomorrow. You can head out to the Babby Farm in Peru for the 14th annual Kids Fair and Festival. Families can expect to play some old-timey games with prizes, popcorn and cotton candy, plus a corn maze, a Thomas the Tank Engine ride, plus visits from all sorts of farm animals. That's tomorrow from 10 to 4 at the Babby Rural and Farm Learning Museum in Peru.
Head down to Old Forge to see some beautiful watercolors this month. It's the 45th annual Adirondacks National Exhibition of American Watercolors. Such a cool event and a gallery exhibit that happens every year at View Arts in Old Forge. You can check out opaque watercolors, egg tempera, ink, gouache, acrylic too. Find out more information at viewarts.org. The exhibition is up right now and runs through September 27th.
And you can put on your dancing shoes and head out to the Prairie Mills Community Center tomorrow night for a contra dance. It's beginner friendly. There will be some light refreshments too. Admission is cash only. It's $6 per person and $10 for couples. Proceeds will go to the musicians playing as well as supporting the community center. That is tomorrow from 7 to 9, Saturday night at the Prairie Mills Community Center around Canton.
Even though we're in the last few days of summer, there's still free music shows to head out to for different summer concert series, including coming up this weekend in Wanakina. There'll be a show at Otto's Abode. You can check out the group Rib and the Bones. They've got a few shows coming up, too. They'll be doing, again, a show tomorrow night at Otto's Abode in Wanakina. If you can't make it out tomorrow, that's all right. You can see them next week, too. They'll be doing a show in Watertown next Friday, and they'll be in Cape Vincent next Saturday. And we're going to get a little bit of a preview. We're going out on their song, Won't Remember You.
I go outside, you're smoking a cig. The house, it drips, it sweats adrenaline. A song is on that you promised I wouldn't get. Then I go inside just to forget that and do it all over again. Maybe if I just play the part of a body poorly owned, in the combat boots that feel like home, that are sticking to the floor. I'll see me, I'll find peace, and then I'll jump to the floor until our bodies are sore. We're all wrecking and bruised, and I won't remember you. I go outside, you're smoking a cig. The house, it drips, it sweats adrenaline. A song is on that you promised I wouldn't get. Then I go inside just to forget, then do it all over again. Maybe if I just play pretend, all of these fake faces come to an end, and then I'll know for
Rib and the Bones. You can check them out tomorrow night in Watakina. They're doing a show at Otto's Abode, part of their summer concert series. That's it for the show. It's 8:30. Have a good weekend.